Welcome! In this video, I will show you 7 practical ways how to use Chatgpt in leverage finance, independent of whether you work on the sell side, buy side, or in a corporate. And if you stick around until the end, I will even reveal a fun, light-hearted bonus use of Chatgpt. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with Chatgpt, think of it as a smart friend who can answer many questions you throw their way. You can access Chatgpt on the OpenAI website. In your browser, just enter openai.com. Then here click on Try. And here sign up. I'm already signed up, so I will click on Login. Continue. And we are in Chatgpt. But before we dive in, it's important to keep in mind a few limitations of the model. First, the database Chatgpt is trained on is limited on data available until 2021. And so, unfortunately, you will not be able to ask Chatgpt questions about last week's market news or any recent events. Additionally, Chatgpt doesn't provide any source of information, and so you may want to double-check some responses. And of course, don't share any private information on this platform. OpenAI is watching. Now, with those caveats out of the way, let's get into how Chatgpt can help you in the world of leverage finance. Do you need to quickly understand company's business model ahead of a meeting or presentation? Chatgpt can help you with that. Let's take an example of a recent high-yield issuer, INEOS. You can simply ask questions like, what does INEOS do? And within a few seconds, Chatgpt will produce a short description of the business. Of course, you can be much more specific and ask, can you explain their business model? Or create a SWOT analysis? Or many other questions. But the best bit about Chatgpt is that it works like a conversation. So if you don't understand a particular word or a concept, you can just ask for clarification. In this example, you could ask, what are polymers? And Chatgpt will explain the terms to you. It may happen that it explains it in a complicated way, in which case you can then ask, what are polymers? Explain it to me like a 10-year-old. And lastly, if you have an offering memorandum, you can even copy and paste part of the business description into Chatgpt and it will summarize it for you. So if I go to the offering memorandum, copy the business description, go here, say summarize, paste it in, and again, in a while I'll get a brief summary of the business. So overall, you need like 5 minutes and you'll get a solid grasp of what a company actually does. Well, this can't replace a full credit analysis. This is a great tool for getting a quick, basic understanding of a business model. So give it a try and see how it can be useful to you. Are you preparing for one of your first management presentations as a junior banker or a credit analyst? Chatgpt can help you brainstorm questions you can ask at these meetings. Just say to Chatgpt, you're a credit analyst and you go to see INEOS management. What are the top 3 questions you would ask? And it will give you a list of questions you can ask at your meeting. You will see that the generated questions may be a little broad and you may need to customize them to fit your specific needs, but they can be a great starting point for your due diligence process. And so even if you didn't have any time to read anything about the company, you will never go into your next meeting completely unprepared. And while Chatgpt is still generating questions, let me show you another feature. Let's say you don't like the answer Chatgpt gave you. In this example, you can just ask for more questions by saying, give me top 10 questions you would ask at the meeting. Or you can click on regenerate response and it will give you a different version of the response. Looking to quickly identify relevant peers for your company, Chatgpt can help you out. With just a simple prompt, create INEOS peer group, it will generate a list of companies along with their short descriptions. Unfortunately, it's not able to give you specific peers among high yield and term loan B issuers, and so you may need to narrow down your search using other tools such as Bloomberg, 9fin, LCD, etc. But Chatgpt is still a valuable tool to add to your toolbox, because this gives you not only a list of companies, but also their description, making it easier to filter them for further analysis. And looking at INEOS peers, they can prompt you to ask further questions, such as what are the key differences between INEOS and Dow? Chatgpt will, in its response, comment on size, ownership, business focus of each of the two companies. So it is a great way to very quickly dig a little deeper into the peers. Chatgpt can also help you grasp key metrics that are important to evaluate companies' financials. Just ask Chatgpt questions like, how does INEOS generate revenue? Or what are the largest cost and cash items? Or what are typical EBITDA margins in the industry? To quickly identify key financial performance indicators. Chatgpt does not have access to the most recent financial data, and so it is not able to give you recent numbers and metrics, but it can still help you understand what to look for in financial statements. Plus, in my view, it offers a glimpse into the future possibilities of artificial intelligence in financial analysis. Chatgpt can also assist you with anything you do in Excel. Whether you are a junior banker who is learning key functions or someone who just forgot specific formula, Chatgpt can create it for you. I will show you two simple examples, but bear in mind that Chatgpt can help you with much more advanced functions like creating pivot tables and macros. But let's start with a simple task of formatting numbers. I can ask Chatgpt to create an Excel formula to format numbers. And these numbers should have a 1000 separator, 1 decimal place, negative numbers should be shown in brackets, and 0 should show as a dash. And it will not only generate the formula, but it will also explain what the single elements of the formula mean, and then guide you through how to use the formula. So let's here copy the formula, go to my spreadsheet, and apply the formula. Here we go. And the numbers are formatted. Similarly, you can use Chatgpt to give you an IRR formula. So here we have a couple of dates and cash flows. So I can go back to Chatgpt and ask to calculate IRR, and also specifying that we have the dates in cells C3 to F3 and amounts in C4 to F4. And again, I will get a formula and suggestion how I can apply it. So let's wait for the formula. Here we go. I'll copy it. I'll go to my spreadsheet. I paste it in, and here we have the result. Now, of course, you may say that it's easier to find a video tutorial online rather than following a text. But I find it really helpful that you can ask specific questions linked to your spreadsheet, and Chatgpt creates a formula which you can just copy and paste. Definitely a time saver. These are obviously just two very simple examples, but you can ask much more complex questions involving, for instance, macros. So if you would like to see examples how to use Chatgpt for more complex Excel tasks, leave a comment below this video. For junior bankers and credit analysts, it can be a daunting task to read and understand high-yield bond and leverage loan documentation. Chatgpt can explain the basic concept of specific covenants as well as unfamiliar terms in a simplified way. You can start by simply asking what a restricted payment covenant or a build-up basket mean. But more interestingly, you can paste a particular covenant or paragraph and ask Chatgpt to analyze it and list certain elements in a simple and easy to understand way. So let's go back to INEOS OM, copy part of the restricted payment covenant, go back to Chatgpt and say summarize and list key items. Paste the covenant in, and within few seconds we will have a summary of the paragraph. Of course, it will not replace a thorough covenant analysis, but for someone who is not familiar with a bond or a loan documentation, it can give a high-level overview. And if you have zero experience with covenants, you can even ask Chatgpt to summarize the covenant like it is explaining it to a 10-year-old child. Just say, explain the paragraph to a 10-year-old. Unfortunately, Chatgpt is not yet able to analyze covenants and calculate available dividend or debt capacity, but I'm pretty sure that it's only a matter of time before we can easily do that. Finally, have you missed an earnings call and don't have time to read through pages and pages of earnings results transcripts? Let ChatGPT do the heavy lifting. So here I have the most recent Telenet earnings result transcript. I will copy the CEO's speech. I will go back to ChatGPT and say, summarize the transcript. Paste the transcript in. And in a few seconds, you will get key takeaways which will help you to prepare an earnings update for your PM or simply get ready for your next client meeting. We've reached the end of our 7 tips how to use ChatGPT in leverage finance, but we have one more cool suggestion to share with you. Do you want to sometimes spice up your presentation or market update with a clever quote or a joke? Well, with ChatGPT it gets easier. Ask to generate a quote related to a specific topic, like inflation. So let's write, give me a quote about inflation. And your intro quote is ready in an instant. If you don't like it, just click Regenerate Response until you are happy with the suggestion. You can also try generating jokes, but keep in mind that you may need to filter out the cheesy ones first. Give it a try and see how it can add some fun and creativity to your work. And with that, we come to the end of our video. It's clear that the current use of ChatGPT in leverage finance is just scratching the surface. The potential is far bigger. Both Microsoft and Google are working on integrating AI into their search engines, which will address the key limitations mentioned at the beginning of the video, such as availability of current data and linking to sources. But even then, it's just the tip of the iceberg. The future promises to bring even more specific and advanced applications, which will be built on ChatGPT technology, creating helpful tools for finance professionals that we probably can't even imagine yet. I, for one, am really excited about what the future holds. If you are also curious, please subscribe below to stay in the loop. My next video will be summarizing key features of the brand new AI-powered Bing browser. And trust me, you don't want to miss it.